Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam, for a very crisp, fact-laden presentation. Dear friends, I hope you've got a very good idea of how active and purposefully active Thailand has been in terms of expanding its technical cooperation and assistance to India, particularly to the northeastern states. And clearly the areas where this is being focused, for example, tourism and agro-based industries, it has great relevance for our requirements. Thank you very much. May I now request Professor Imphal Metei to take the floor.
A very warm good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, respected chair of the session, Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I will be just sharing something about the human capital development. That means the developmental things to happen in any part of the globe, the region, state, or the country is very much dependent on the kind of a quality of human resources the region will be having. So that's why when we talk of the connectivity, we talk of many other dimensions of developmental things to happen. It is the human resource and the quality of the human resource, they definitely will be the drivers of the economy. And for that matter, entrepreneurs, again, are coming up as an important key players for making the regions to move from one level to the another. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will be just looking at the basic background. We know we have been talking a lot about India's engagement with the neighboring countries as a part of the AGIS, the Logis policy, and the renewed trust on the India-ASEAN connectivity, and now coming up in a broader perspective of Indo-Pacific region. And with a whole lot of the development, we are to understand the fact that Northern region is having only about 37 kilometers length as a chicken neck, many people are talking about. And at the same time, we're also envisioning Northern region and Manipur in particular to be the gateway of India to Southeast Asian countries. Well, the dimensions of connectivity when we talk about, at least I just would like to visualize once again, maybe the physical, the road, rail, air, and the maritime. But when we talk of the road, it may be cross-border connectivity or within the country itself. And we are to situate this connectivity, maybe the interstate, intrastate, and across the border. We have a visual, virtual, digital, trade, power, tourism, healthcare, sports, and in fact, in all these connectivity domains, people-to-people connectivity and education and capacity building could be an important component for any developmental things to happen. We know about this certain strategic issues that we had already just discussed. I won't just skip it, but for the connecting physically between the Northeastern, especially Manipur, and Myanmar is the Sagaing region. Because, in fact, we need to understand some of the economic parameters, etc. I skipped that parts about the Sagaing and also Manipur. We have got. But one strategic thing which we have to sit with, Manipur is very much in the center point of India and ASEAN if we see together. That means the Manipur stands at the central point of this region. So that's why it's becoming an important point today when we talk of India's engagement with Asian countries. And that's why a whole lot of the connectivity for the continental connectivity and for the trade, commerce, etc. is becoming an important part. That's why all the first Asian Highway number 1 is passing through Moretamu sector of northern region, and even Asian Highway number 2, so coming from this Singapore to Scotland, again is passing through this Moretamu sector. That's why it's a part of the trilateral highway, as many people have already pointed it out, from Moreh to Bagan, Mandalay to Mysore. So that is how the this one route is coming up. So that's why when we situate from this Moretamu to this Mysore, that is the border town of this Thailand, that road is becoming so important. And now government of India has already planned to expand beyond this Thailand to Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia too. So that's why we are just envisioning to have this road to be fully operationalized, and for that matter, we are to situate some of the components of the bridges to be constructed in the Moreh to Kalimio. This is about 69, this all bridges are still pending, so that's to be strengthened. And well, when such kind of a connectivity comes up, keeping the other things apart, some of the opportunities which we can situate is about the trade, commerce, costs, which includes the tourism, the culture, and education, so on and so forth. So some of the opportunities that we can think about is education and the skill development of this region. And in fact, we have already seen about the ACIS policy. Within that Indo-Pacific larger perspective, ACIS policy should remain as it is, because we need to do something in the northwestern region. For the change to happen, we are to have cross-border tourism, agro-based industry, as many people have already pointed it out, that I also endorse to it. But in addition, we can see to it the healthcare, the medical services, pharmaceutical, IT-enabled services, and the Internet of Things, the floriculture, handlooms, handicraft. Then one very important is about the logistics and the warehousing. But as on today, we are not having that kind of opportunity in the state of Manipur. That is what we are to focus on. Even we are just going to get a rail connection maybe by the end of the next year or beyond. We may be getting very soon, but do we have the right kind of a logistic facility? That is another question we have to say to it. Yes, trade, commerce, industry, trade and services could be another areas. While from the academic perspective, for the promotion and the development of the human resources, proper mapping and the distribution of resources is needed. Institutions, universities, industry partnership is very much important, and of course through that we can do the skill development, sharing of information, knowledge, etc. is needed. But for Manipur, the potential areas could be, we have approximately 3 central universities, plus one more regional center for the Indira Gandhi Tribal National University. 3 includes the Central Lake University, Manipur University, and the National Sports Universities. We have IVSD, ICR, RIMS, NIT, and IIIT, so on and so forth. And of course, we have a good number of talented people in the medical, engineering, and the IT areas too. But what requires is a capacity building needs. In fact, the capacity building activities in the light of these cross-border initiatives, we have to put strong emphasis on our young boys and girls, because their employability, their aspirations of the life, that's to be taken care of. For the developmental things to happen, many activities are to be happening, and for that, we are to nurture their talent pools better. However, as on today, many of our young talented people are moving outside, and they may come during the COVID pandemic, but many could not return. But we have to see to it, can this kind of an ambience be provided in this northern part of India and Manipur in particular? So, of course, for the capacity building and the skill development, we have to do it at the individual level, institutional level and the societal level at large too. And why these things are required? Because we are required to have a very skillful workforces. If we do not have the skillful workforces in the region, regions cannot be developed much. Especially the local people will be affected a lot. We are to get people from other parts of the country or other parts of the globe that sometimes may not be suitable for the sustainable growth and development in the region. That's why we have to focus on the local people to be trained at the international level, and they are to be acceptable at the global arena. And for that, some of the skill developmental areas to be looked into is about tourism and hospitality, IT-enabled services, international trade and logistics, supply chain, jewelries, fashion technology, food processing and biotechnology, which includes the pharmaceutical industries as well. Then the electronics and media, including the embedded technology, agriculture, forestry, construction, banking, finance, and healthcare-related services or healthcare-related activities. So these are some of the important areas for the skill development. And in fact, the way forward which we can just situate for the human capital development is entrepreneurship development in the curriculum. So that's why we are to bring in the world-class kind of entrepreneurial ecosystems to be developed in the state of Manipur, in particular in the northeastern region. In fact, today, whatever the resources northeastern is having, we are not able to tap to the fullest extent because of the lack of entrepreneurial ability, maybe the technology or the capital investment. So international academic collaboration at the universities and the college levels is needed. Internationalization of the higher education is very much in the top priority in the NEP 2020. However, we are not having that much of an international presence in the northeastern region. And for that matter, even the foreign direct investment in this part of the region is very, very nominal, except one or two in the power sector. So opening more professional courses in the foreign languages like the Myanmar, the Japanese, the Thai, Chinese, and Koreans could be of immense benefit in future when we just talk about the trade, commerce, and various other linkages with the Southeast Asian countries. And industry, academia, partnership, that is what we have already taken up. Just 2 minutes. Joint research, faculty exchange, all these things are needed for the academic collaborations in all the areas of study especially. And in fact, Manipur University, in a modest attempt, we just taken up for the bilateral cooperation at the university's level with the Mongya University of Economics. Their MBA students visited to Manipur University. We hosted some years back. And our students also visited to Myanmar, that's Mandalay. These are some of the places, the industrial visits to some of the plants, the cement industry, then logistics parks in Myanmar. So that is how we are just trying to know each other much. Such kind of a thing is very much needed in this part of the country. That is very much lacking. That's why, in spite of the good potential our region is having, the human resource potential, it could not capture much. And last but not the least, what I just would like to suggest through this forum, transforming Manipur and the northern region in general as an excellent academic gateway of India to Southeast Asia. We need to dream together to make this region the academic hub, excellent academic hub, and very, very vibrant commercial hub in the years to come. And for that matter, we want establishment of institutions of national importance like IITs, IIMs, ISER, or even NIPER. Not a single institution of such type is available in the state of Manipur. So that's why when we talk of the connectivity and we just want to bring in mega industrial parks is needed for the logistics, warehousing, probably in the border areas development, special economic zones for the export processing, jewelry, timbers, and even the small IT and the electronic firms could be established. When Japan's more than thousands of companies are operating in India, not even a single in the northern part of India, in spite of the fact that we have a huge, skillful human resource potential. So that's why,
Professor, I think kindly, I think you have to conclude now, because we have other panel. Dear Professor, please.
Let me wind up.
I know it's difficult for professors to speak for 10 minutes. I know. I have been myself a professor, I know it.
Sir, one last line. We just would like to attract investment, participation through this conclave, at least from the Indo-Pacific countries like the Quad countries, Australia, Japan, US. These countries are supposed to have some sort of a presence in the northeastern region. Only then a dynamic change will happen in the years to come. So that is my suggestions through this forum. At least if we are able to bring some investment in academic collaboration some way or the other with these countries, I believe many things will be changed. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to business leaders, and I have no doubt that they will come up with now very interesting perspectives as well. So may I now invite Dr. Dhabali Singh. Sorry. Okay, so you want to go first now? You can. Yeah, you can. You want to be the last? Okay, then Dr. Palin. Dr. Palin, please do use your 10 minutes as wisely as you can. Yeah, okay. Okay. You remember the names are wrong here. You can go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so lucky that I came in place of Dhabali San. Actually, I want to be very candid, and it's really saddening that none of our government officials are here. I mean our state government officials. Because there has been several dialogues, and one day I'm actually thinking that I want to hang all this delegation, cards. I've got this much. And lots and lots and lots has been deliberated on this. And I see a lot of my friends who will endorse on this, that a lot has been deliberated. Now, let me start from yesterday what the Minister of Political Affairs, Japan, Taguchi-san, spoke about. State of Manipur is saying, thinking, and acting on saying rather like tourism is the potential. Tourism is a thing that can actually take Manipur forward. Now, contradictory to that, you don't have a very vibrant policy. I just came to know that a couple of days back, around 20 days back, the tourism policy came up, but I'm not so sure. Me working in the tourism sector, I've not seen the policy as such. Or rather, how many people who are in the tourism sector are being discussed? Who are the stakeholders? As far as yesterday's Taguchi-san's comment and observation on the travel advisory, the Japanese travel advisory says that Manipur is not a safe place to travel. Because of that, there are no investment flowing in the state of Manipur. JICA is not coming. Japan Foundation is not coming. No investment is coming. So I think it was in 2018 when our Honorable Chief Minister visited Shillong and there was a conclave, and I think JICA was the main host of the conclave, and almost, I guess, it was around some 6,736 crore that was invested in the entire northeastern states. And the northeastern map was shown with the amount, with the figures on the map. And Manipur was the only state that was left behind. And we have been working with engaging with the Japanese for almost 8 years now. And this security issue, this not a safe place to travel, has been the tag and has been the main hindrance for for Japanese not to invest in Manipur. Now, where is the problem? I've worked with I have been engaged with, or I've been in touch with 4 different ambassadors of Japan. First was Takeshi Yagi, I think it was in 2011-12. After that, one Kawazu-san came. After that, one Hiramatsu Kenji-san came. After that, one Suzuki-san came. And now a new ambassador is going to come. All these 4 ambassadors, their tenure is around 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. Almost 8 years now has gone. And still, this travel advisory is not lifted. Now, where is the problem? The Japanese government, they are very strict. They are very, they want concrete things. So they sent a letter to the state government. And the letter was 1 page, but the annexure was huge. And nothing was moving from the state. So ultimately, the embassy called me up and said, Joy-san, can you help us? We sent a letter to the government and the reply never came back. And I asked a copy of that. So, informally they shared me the copy. Now the entire Excel sheet, the Excel file has got a number of sheets, right? In these sheets, there are so many questions. How many encounters? How many FIRs? How many court cases? How many? Now, when I approached the Chief Secretary of the State of Manipur and ultimately the Chief Minister, they said that these are very, very critical answers which we cannot give. Because there are so many paramilitary forces which doesn't work under our state purview, and the state government is not entitled to answer these questions. And the Japanese are waiting for the answers to come. Now, I've been in discussion with the Japanese embassy to take a, detour of how this can actually be sidelined and take a new approach. Because in 2019, when the Imphal Peace Museum was inaugurated, we invited the ambassador of Japan, Hiramatsu Kenji, and the ambassador of UK, Dominic Esquith. The inauguration was on 22nd. On July 20, almost 1 month, just 1 month, 28 days, I got a WhatsApp message from the military attaché of UK saying that, Joyamba, I have got a good news. Then I said, please. Then he said, let it come out formally. In 3 days, that means 1 month and 1 day after their visit to Imphal, the travel advisory of UK was lifted. Now, I have been suggesting to the Japanese government as well as the Manipur government, why don't we take a decision just like the UK? Otherwise, the Japanese things is not going to come. Now, this is what I wanted to actually share when the Minister of State was yesterday here, the Chief Minister was here, and the Japanese Minister was here. But I could not get the opportunity of telling this. Now, coming to the human capital potential, I have an office in Mandalay in Myanmar. I have an IT company in Myanmar. To be very frank, I am one of the most frequent traveler from Imphal to Myanmar. And I have looked the look list, I have seen the act list, and nothing is being looked after, nothing is being acted on. Act as in acting, maybe. Act as in acting, because I have an office in Mandalay, I have a software company in Mandalay, and I know how things are going on. Now, from look list to act list, I would like the government to add one more. Act fast. Otherwise, too much on the table and nothing is implemented. All the policies are fantastic. I mean, you sit there with all the intelligence, academics, everyone sitting down there. Policies are so good, but when it comes to the ground, nothing is implementable or nothing is implemented. Now, policies are coming, but the pace and the speed at which policies are implemented is damn slow, and that's why there's a huge mismatch. Now, coming into the part of human capital, Manipur has got, I don't know, Professor Ozai Bohol said that Manipur has, few numbers of, like Manipur has NIT, Manipur has IIT, we have MIT, we have Manipur University, and other universities, and we have NELIT. I'm taking only these 5 institutions just because MIT, IIIT, etc. produces engineers. And I'm talking about from the IT perspective. Now, what is the intake? If you see the density or the ratio of the number of institutes of national importance, it's huge. In a small state like Manipur or in Imphal, you have NIT, wow. You have IIIT, wow. These are institutes of national importance. What about the intake? 30, 60? And if you take all these institutions together, I'm talking about technical part, you hardly produce 360 graduates. And you're thinking about capacity building, talking about software IT as an industry in Manipur. Huge, huge, huge vacuum is there. First thing, let these IIITs and NITs and all these institutes increase the capacity. First thing. And in IIIT, the Honorable Chief Minister has already pointed out, there are no Manipuri students studying in the IIIT. So there is a requirement of increasing the number of seats. We have heard of increasing the number of seats for medical colleges. Why not these technical institutes? This has to increase. One more thing is, the syllabuses of the institutions, which falls under some purview of the university, has to get updated. I'm talking in terms of IT. So for example, if my brother is getting admitted to an engineering college today, he is committing to himself that I'm going to study an outdated syllabus. Of course, the backbone and the basic has to be there, but IT is such a fast-changing subject that you need the revision of these syllabuses as soon as possible. But the university takes a lot of time to revise the syllabus, and when they complete the engineering, I mean, they are out of the market. They cannot be, we cannot employ them, honestly speaking. So NITs, IIITs, MITs, MU, and NELIT, and all these institutions has to increase the number of seat intake. First thing. Yesterday there was quite a big debate with Ambassador Bhattiaji and Professor Lama. One was saying that we should think big, and one was saying that we should be practical. But rather I was thinking, I was looking at this, connecting the connectivities, and we are looking at if I look from outer space, then I can see the bigger side, the bigger thing. But connecting the connectivities in the Indo-Pacific region, and just I was thinking, oh, Herzog, oh, Tamenglong, oh my God. We are yet to connect our districts. We are yet to connect our districts. Now, the Asian Highway is running in front of my eyes. It is running in front of the Secretariat, and huge traffic. The bureaucrats who are sitting in the Secretariat, their cars are parked 3 layers. No, this is not done. This is not done. So, what I'm trying to say is that we have to think big. Otherwise, we cannot dream. When we dream big, we pursue the dream, we follow the dream. And we have to be practical also. Now, I don't know, I'll just stop here. I'll just bring another topic, otherwise it's going to be quite bad. Now, we say that tourism is the potential. IT is the thing of Manipur. Handloom and handicraft is the thing. Now, in tourism, how many people, how many tourist guides are there in Manipur? No one. Handful. Tour operators are acting as tour guides. If you're thinking that tourism is a potential, why will not the government, or maybe us also, take up trainings where people can take tour guides? Yesterday and therefore yesterday I was facing the challenges of finding tour guides for all the delegates coming. I'm not a tour operator. I'm a software engineer. But I'm trying to find tour operators, and I could find 1 tour operator for 2 Japanese delegates and few of the delegates. I hardly find tour guides. And we are saying that, yes, tourism is a potential. Of course, a small baby that's born today has got a potential to become the prime minister. isn't it? Potential is there. Everything potential is there. So I think we have to act and act really fast. That is one point. And
May I request you to conclude in a minute or
yes,
so?
1 minute. 1 minute. Now, IT has got a lot of potential. BPO as an industry is around, I was just looking at the internet today, and it's 225 billion US dollars by 2025. 225 to 250 billion dollars by 2025 for India. And believe me, the number of people working in the BPO sector is almost 38 to 42% from the Northeast. This is a figure given by NASSCOM. Now, why don't you bring the entire BPO sector in the state of, in Northeast? Why Philippines has gone beyond India in terms of BPO? Huge potential. And by the by, I'm bringing up BPO because the World Bank is going to invest around 1,000 crores in the ITSZ, the IT Special Economic Zone. Yes, around a week back, the Honorable Chief Minister came to my office, and I was taking to the office, campus and all, and he was saying that this should not be an ITSZ. It should become an IT cyber hub. So big things are coming. So IT is one thing that actually we can work on. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know you have a lot of thoughts to share. I think all of us have that, but you have a very practical approach, and I thank you for your valuable contribution. So now we come to the last panelist, Mr. Yoromba. You will speak from here? Yeah, sure. Okay.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. We had all the inconveniences for success. I am the last speaker. I have the advantage. I was associated with so many health associations. And I want to mention that I was associated with awards Yokohama, Japan, and IIM Ahmedabad. We are strength hunter and counter. We have the locational advantage, see the landscape, people, history, sports, art and culture. Act is policy, now it is little modified. Power comes from the consciousness of the power within. So we have to focus on the power within. We are focusing on medical education and wellness tourism, medical and wellness tourism, and we have been working towards changing the healthcare landscape of the region. And we have been successful to a great extent. And we feel that this organization is a successful organization. This is a hospital, thoughts becoming things. When the material is subdivided into subatomic particle, it becomes a waveform, energy, and thought and material, energy to material, it can be converted. And this is his Academy of Health Sciences, the first homegrown private medical college in northern India with 150 intake capacity. We have started from this year. Second batch is under counseling now. And for the hospital, it is 350 bedded NABH with an accredited laboratory. 1,590 direct employees, including more than 200 doctors, and more than 10,000 indirect employment around. And we have a postgraduate course under Ministry of Health in 7 disciplines, and we are focusing on medical and wellness tourism. We have one NGO under which we have Caesar Eye Care Foundation. We are doing thousands of cataract surgery free of cost. We have oxygen plant PPP mode, and it was oasis during the COVID time. And we have Caesar Academy of Nursing and Paramedical. We have produced thousands of qualified nurses. All of them are employed. 100% job placement. Under Smile Train New York, we are doing more than 4,000 cleft lip and palate in and around. And we have the blood bank under PPP mode again. We have caused a revolution, medical revolution in medical tourism, neuroscience, mass, kidney, liver, and cornea transplantation, cardiac care, infertility, all those required for medical tourism. We are doing it in Manipur. And also in medical fields, we have done the largest neck tumor excision successfully, 40% of the total body weight, and we have set a Guinness World Record. It is happening in the corner of the country. And we have implanted 8 amputated hands and fingers. I would like to mention about Caesar Mission Myanmar. We have gone there, operated 339 operations, cleft lip and palate, cataract surgery, and keyhole surgery. This is the first camp, and we were protected by the army there. This was in 2013. This is not the road condition now. We were helped by all those local people, and hundreds of patients were waiting. We wanted to do 100 operations, cleft lip and palate. We could do 103. Trust can transform to magic, and because of the road condition, we returned on St. River. We have trained 2 surgeons and 6 nurses, and free care at Calais also. We are emotionally connected, not by road, but through emotion. And it was the goodwill between the 2 nations. Thousands have been treated after that, and we are trying for capacity building. And 2,200 treated in Caesar Hospital after 8th of August 2018, before Corona, less than 2 years. And we have recruited 19 student nurses for Sakra Hospital, which is sponsored by Toyota in Bangalore. 20 are working right now. And this is the TITP program for those old age people in Japan. And this is the training in collaboration with this embassy, Japanese embassy. And already 4 have gone. Already they are working. 4 nurses are leaving on 1st of November, this and day after tomorrow. And 20 nurses are working in Sakra. Demands more than 35,000. This is the opportunity we have. We have exponential development in infrastructure. I would like to emphasize on wellness. Medical tourism is on treatment. And wellness, on the other hand, seek activities that maintains or enhance their health and well-being. This is so important. World Health Organization has given an alarming statement that 63% of the deaths in India are due to non-communicable diseases, lifestyle-related diseases. And modern hospital, the so-called allopathy hospital, this medicine cannot handle this. We need to prevent it. So more holistic approach promotes well-being and not curing diseases. Wellness market globally is at $4.5 trillion, and it is trying to increase to 6.5 by 2030. India is contributing. India is very weak in wellness tourism. South India, Bangalore and Kerala, only 0.25 contributed globally. And 2025, we are trying to contribute 3 to 4% only. North America is the wellness capital of the world, and Asia-Pacific is fastest growing. And it is India is trying to revive because of the rich heritage. It has got more than 5,000 years practice, lifestyle, lost during the British, and government of India is trying to promote through Heal in India. And Honorable Prime Minister has already announced this visa. I use visa also, and policy of integration of education, research, and practice both traditional and modern medicine. Massachusetts General Hospital has already announced that 33% cost in the treatment can be reduced through meditation and yoga only. China has already integrated, and already there is a policy to integrate Ayush and allopathy, 100% in district hospital and 75% in PHC and CHC. And there is a clinical trial because we have to increase the evidence-based medicine, otherwise people will not believe it. We need to quality control. AIMS already has got integrated health unit. This is the best time. This wellness, this center will have yoga, meditation, good food, spa, spiritual conference, recovery from illness, training, research, anti-aging medicine, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which lengthen the telomere, which is responsible for the longevity of the health, this human being. And NABI's corporate wellness, a lot of corporate employees are suffering from stress, menopausal grief, weight loss, mental illness, well-being, workplace wellness. These are some of the importance, and these are the criteria. Medical, I use visa, connectivity already mentioned, medical wellness, tourism policy, accreditation, PPP mode for affordability and quality, and international marketing through tourism. To conclude, Northern India, the service industry is our strength, and we can supply globally doctors, nurses, paramedics, healthcare administrators. Medical and wellness tourism should be the thrust area. I want respected sir to give a concrete proposal to the Honorable Chief Minister, and also reservation of, I'm very happy the presence of former ambassador of Bangladesh, reservation of MBBS seat for Myanmar, Thailand, Bangladesh, and also Bhutan and Nepal, and under the Ministry of External Affairs, if they can sponsor. Knowledge and the technical collaboration with Japan, we need to learn a lot, and also this will increase the brand with the history in the past. I think we need to collaborate with so many structures in between. Exponential infrastructure development and the connections, and at the rate of escape velocity. The space shuttle needs to go off in high speed to escape from the gravitational force. That is the speed we need. Public-private partnership, this will provide affordable and quality care, quality service. Now, grow or die. That the situation is such that we grow in spite of all the situation. We have grown through turbulence, and we strongly feel that we can still survive with all the discussion we had today. Otherwise, you will die. If we want to predict, as it is said that if you want to predict the future, create it. We run for medical and wellness tourism. Future belongs to those who believe in the beauties of their dreams. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for a very substantive presentation, which you only took the time allotted to you. I really appreciate and am grateful for this. Dear friends, you have just seen that in these four diverse presentations, some of the matters which are absolutely central to the potential and the future of Northeast Eastern states has come through very clearly. As I look at the panelists and I look at Manipur and Northeast as the hub for medical tourism and wellness, as the hub for knowledge and higher education, and as the center for tourism, IT, BPO, and on top of that, very clear willingness on part of a friendly neighbor of ours, Thailand, to cooperate and collaborate with us in terms of helping us to exploit the potential optimally. This is what comes out from the experts, from business leaders, from eminent educationists, from prominent business people who have daily transactions and visits to the neighboring country, Myanmar. So in that kind of situation, I think the conclusion is very clear. We know what needs to be done, but then the issue is that we must reflect this in our action program. At this stage, I'm perfectly happy to open the floor for some questions. Please feel free to raise, short questions, and please indicate which panelists you want to answer, or eventually they will decide for themselves. So the young lady there can go ahead. Yes, please give a microphone to her.
Very good evening, everyone. I'm Falguni Kongjengbam, Research Scholar, Department of Management, Manipur University. My question is to Dr. Palin. Tourism being an important area of development in Manipur, how do you see the prospect of medical tourism in Manipur, where the people here, in the case of serious sickness, injuries, or disease, prefer to go outside the state in spite of being treated here?
Thank you. Any other question? Yes, go ahead. You can go ahead first. On this table, yeah, on the left there are people.
Sir, good evening. My question is to Professor Meitei. When you talk about the human capital development, what I feel is that it is right that we need to have more number of institutions of higher education as well as of national importance. But the students from this region, when they come for a competitive examination for entrance of those institutions, what I have observed is that there are a very small percentage is able to clear through. So are there any thinking that in the school level, the syllabus upgradation or development in this context? Otherwise, having institution of higher importance is very good, but then they are not been able to clear through. So I think we need to focus at the same time for the school level also to upgrade the education.
Thank you. Yes, the lady there.
Good evening, everyone. My question is open to all the panelists, including the chair, Mr. Bhatia. I believe that human development is not just the need of the hour, because we have skill development projects and courses happening in the universities of Manipur and even private institutions as well. But the conversion rate is very low, be it capital or be it other problems. And you may say that entrepreneurship is the solution, but we all know that not everyone has the zeal and required capital to make it work. So are you really confident that this connecting the connectivities will actually change this? And who will be responsible to take this 2 days dialogue to the next level? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll stop here. We'll take a second round. I think, would you like to begin with answering questions?
Regarding the medical tourism, as I see in the future, in the beginning when we started medical schooling, people used to go to Dibrugarh. I don't know whether you may not be aware. Dibrugarh was the mecca of healthcare in the northern India. And that subsequently shifted to this Guwahati. And also patients from Imphal were going to Kakpopi Mission Hospital, Alipur Mission Hospital, and Vellore. And because of that, I think we were inspired, and we have developed the infrastructure. Now we have been able to stop to a great extent, not only the patient, but also the nurses, the paramedics, and also medical students. Now we have been able to attract patients from outside, from neighboring states. Out of 72 kidney transplants, 7 are from Nagaland, and 1 from Myanmar. The patient from Mandalay went to Bangkok. The budget was 60 lakhs. And after hearing our center, they have come here. We have done with 6 lakhs, 1/10 of the cost. And that has given a lot of encouragement. And we have treated more than 5,000 Myanmar patients, of course, to 2,500 legally with a valid visa. Before that, they have come at their own way. And this is a strong base, and we have operated, including brain tumor, heart operation, joint replacement. Even a patient from Thailand, we have operated. So this has given a lot of confidence to us. And we are getting a lot of patients from Arunachal Pradesh. They have already inspected our hospital for kidney transplantation, and because they are sending to Vellore. And the Chief Minister renal replacement scheme, they are given 10 lakhs. And it is not sufficient. But coming here, it will be sufficient 6 to 7 lakhs, and the remaining amount, it can be utilized for the medicine post-operatively, because they have to continue the medicine. And so they are telling the Director of Health Services who inspected our hospital, he's willing to send technicians for dialysis training, because we are doing the highest number of dialysis in northern India. Every day we are doing 110 average. This is not done in any other part of the northern India. And he will be sending this for the critical care and the emergency, because we have the emergency postgraduate course, DNB. This is the first institute in Eastern India having this postgraduate course in emergency medicine. We have already started. So he is sending his this critical care team for undergoing the short course training in our hospital. Similarly, we are submitting our proposal to Tripura and the Mizoram and any other state. Even we are getting patients from Assam. This is the situation. So we are very confident that not only from neighboring states, from mainland India, and from any part of the country, because once we start this wellness, this is well known in any other parts, but India is doing quite low in this wellness, because the people are suffering. Not the disease, but there is a lot of other issues, and also because of the lifestyle, the disease burden has increased so much. I have already given 63% of the death in India is due to non-communicable disease. So all these things can be prevented. And also Massachusetts, this hospital has already announced that there will be 43% reduction in the healthcare expenditure if only with yoga and meditation. So this is one area we wanted to inculcate and prevent the disease throughout globally, not only from Manipur. So these are few things we would like to start, and also we wanted to collaborate with the reputed university for research and other knowledge base on technical exchange. So this is one area. The second question was about this education. I don't know the type of education. Yes, we are interested in employable skill development. All the technicians, paramedical, like we are doing right now, X-ray, then eye, then OT and laboratory. We are going to add dialysis, we are going to add physiotherapy, we are going to add so many other subjects also. So this, all of them are 100% jobless. So far, we have produced more than 1,000, and there is still demand. And one hospital in Sakra, this in Bangalore, the director is coming every year to get all the nurses. Of course, this nurses, this seat capacity is only 40. They want to take the whole this batch, but we are not giving. And also, so many other hospitals are approaching. And Japan is another country, and Singapore. They are demanding in terms of thousands. So that's why we need exponential increase in the infrastructure development so that we can take, why not 100, 200, 300 nurses per year in the institute. It is possible. Only thing we need infrastructure for their stay, for their classes, on laboratory, all those things. So I think I don't know about others, but paramedics and the nurses, I think there is a lot of scope. And also India, after the corona, has increased the healthcare delivery, and demand has suddenly increased. So I think there is a shortage of manpower, skilled technicians and nurses. So I think this is not only India, globally we can supply. That's why we can supply globally once we have the infrastructure, because we are very strong in this service sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. For the institutions of national importance, like IITs, IIMs, ISER, etc., it's a very important to have over here. Yes, for taking admission, it is a very tough competition is there. But once such kind of an institution comes up, it has a demonstration effect. So when IIT Guwahati came up, and many people were asking, how come this IIT is coming up in the northern part of India? And when this IIT is established, then that time hardly 1 or 2 Assamese may be joining in the IITs. But today you can see to it how many Assamese are joining, not only in Guwahati, even other parts of IIT. Because they know the culture, they know the kind of things they are doing. And students are aspiring for it, and that's why they are putting more efforts. So that's why we are to provide that kind of a demonstration effect. This is number one. That's why the benefit will definitely go to the different sections of the society. Then number two, for any of the industrial developmental things to happen, it has to go together with one very good institutions. And then they definitely will be providing the right kind of a human resources. Maybe for the pharmaceutical, maybe for the engineering, automobile, whatsoever. Why automobile companies are clustering around Chennai and Pune? Because in and around that 200 to 300 kilometers, how many engineering automobile graduates are produced? And that definitely will give you a dramatic change in making the industrial ecosystem. That's why we need to develop that part. Another is, such kind of institutions will definitely attract good relationship, connectivity with different parts of the country. So that's why different parts of the globe. That's why global level kind of a paradigm shifts could be possible only when we have very good institutions of national importance. That's why the connectivity from the Indo-Pacific perspective, at least we must have certain level of institutions of that type. And number 2 point about the skill development in Manipur, and for that matter in India as of now, the skill developmental movement is very much in the nascent stage. As of now, we are having only 10% of the entire workforce is getting skill training, whereas in case of South Korea, it is 96% before they join for any kind of a job. So that's why we need to do a lot many things in the skill development front in different sectors of the skill trades. And for that matter, I just would like to propose every state should have one skill university to provide the different kind of a skill training. If it is associated with the traditional university system, I think it would not grow to the extent what we want. So that is the kind of a thing we have. We need to do many things in the skill set. Only then the employability and the unemployment problem what our state and the country is facing could be minimized to a great extent. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Joy?
Thank you so much. Just to conclude, I think regarding the skills, of course, the skill university is very much a necessity. But looking at the examples like Tamapalin, he's having its own college. He's having his nursing institute. So industry attaching a skills institute is very important. You can give on hands-on training. You can recruit them. You can give practical, live demonstrations, everything. If you take Dhabli, Tamo Dhabli also, he's having hotels. He's also having a classic hospitality institute, which is churning out a number of students who is catering to many number of hotels in the state. So I think the academic and the industry alliance coming together is a very important thing. And just to conclude, again, with Professor Lama and Professor Ambassador Bhatia ji, we have to think big, which are very practical. And also, I was just looking again, if you're thinking this as a movie, Indo-Pacific, connecting just like a railway track, if you close your eyes and if you are looking from an outer space, you are connecting to a railway line, say for example. And if you have a railway track which is broken somewhere in the northeast, it's going to be a big bottleneck. So I believe that it's high time that we focus on the real issues on the ground, sort it out, and look for the bigger challenge as a next step. Because day before yesterday, I went to Kohima, and the stretch from Mao to Kohima was horrible. And someone was asking, how was the road? And I was saying that I didn't find any road. So I think I'm so much thankful to the Asian Confluence for giving me an opportunity and to, allowing me to share my thoughts. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you.
I'm going to answer the last question, I think, from the lovely lady over there about, connecting the dots or connecting the connectivities. As someone who works in the government and, of a country that put connectivity at the heart of its policy, I think I do believe that this thing that we are doing these 2 days and, our effort, so much effort that we've done before is really helping in, enhancing what we call our ideal seamless connectivity in the future. But you were right, it takes so much time. It's not easy. I mean, when you talk about connectivity, it's not just simple as that. Connectivities involve a lot of things, from physical thing like building rails, road, all kinds of physical things that need huge investment. and it takes time. So in order to make it, move it forward fast as you want, I think, my personal view, I think is you need some external factor. Because, you know, doing alone is not easy and it's not going to be fast. But drawing in investment, foreign investment, or, you know, from international organizations, it would need, you know, some kind of, it's like egg and chicken thing, you know. You would need some ample confidence building, like, or, you know, something that would assure others that it's worth the, you know, to come to invest here. Like you might have, you might need a government, steady government policies that kind of like facilitate all foreign investment, making sure that the investment is worth, you know, putting in this region. So that's the physical, you know, physical thing or connectivity. But when we talk about connectivity, it's not about physical only. We need to talk about regulations or what we call software, you know, to make it seamless, to make crossing border easy. You know, it's not, your products not getting stuck in the middle of the way somewhere, you know. So that is also hard. That's why connecting the dots is not an easy thing. It's a difficult task. For regulations or seamless regulation or you know, convergence of rules and regulations, I think we need cooperation. That's why we talk about, you know, regional cooperation in many frameworks. That's part of our effort to, you know, trying to solve these obstacles along the connectivity, along the routes, you know, connecting us. So I think that would be a way to go for the what we call software, enabling the seamless connectivities. But I think the most important of all, connectivity is also about people, you know, people-to-people connectivity. We do believe that people are the agent of change. And that's why we talk about human capital development today. And, you know, when we talk about physical and software connectivity, is mostly of government task. But people-to-people connectivity is something that can start today. And, you know, considering our close proximity and our close, you know, in our ties in people, cultural, you know, I think it's probably something that we should focus on right now. You know, when yesterday Professor Lama talking about thinking big, and you know, Ambassador Bhatia talk about you know, something practical. I think we need both in enhancing people-to-people connectivity. I mean, we have to think big, of course, because when you do exam, you aim for 10, perfect 10, but sometimes you do get 10, but sometimes you get, you know, you don't get it. So you should aim high, because when you aim high and you don't get to the, you know, to what you aim for, at least you get to somewhere high. So I think it's important to also aim big, but to act or to implement it, I think you need to probably or maybe start a little bit smaller, so that it wouldn't be too difficult to take a big leap, you know, for the first step. You know, take a step by step or baby step to do it. And I think doing projects like I just mentioned in our cooperation with, you know, with Northeast Eastern region here, I think that's part of the small things that when we do it together, a lot of small things can make things different. So that's what I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can see the audience is looking tired, but still some elements are very inquisitive. And as a democratic chairman, I'll give one more shot to them, even though I think I can see our executive director is looking quite dismayed. One quick cycle of 3 questions, and I'll prefer to go from this side because in the past there have been very few questions from the ladies. So, is there any question on this side? Okay, that is good. So then we are coming to the center. Is anybody asking a question in the central tables? Okay, on this side? Fine, you go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm Dr. Gambhir from Manipur University. In fact, we have covered a lot of issues, but in reality, the discussion we started in the inaugural session yesterday, thinking big and practical, real issues are my concern. Whenever connecting anybody, what we need, it is nothing but the language. So the important issues relating to the language is extremely important. Whether it is a medical tourism or whatever kind of communication, the language issues, which is one of the most important soft skills issues, are being left out. Of course, I have some reservation when Yuremba highlighted his queries about the national importance of institutions relating to triple IT, because I know practically I have been interacting with the director. What I learned from the director and what I have learned from the faculty, there is a huge gap. So how admissions are going on, in case of NIT, it is different. In case of triple IT, the institution is run with a PPT mode. Because if there is no student, how can they run the institution, though it is triple IT. This is one of my observations. We need to do the right interrogations, and we'll get the feedback, and we can put forward. So I have some observation. Now, Dr. Palin himself, one of the pioneer in healthcare education, one of the unique. I have come across many Assamese who came to treat at Caesar Hospital. Even the Assamese also asked me to whom, how to approach. And many army Jawans who got, injured, feel ill, they also want some person who can speak Assamese. So I happen to support indirectly, though very recently I came in direct contact with him. So even running a hospital, if the right support of the government is not there, it's going to be a challenge. Without a clear vision, and it seems Dr. Palin is working with the kind of mission to promote Northeast. So this is an identity. Coming to healthcare, we know Manipuri nurses are very popular all over India. Even my friend from Japan asked that we want, Manipuri nurses. They want, them to be empowered with English language and little bit of Japanese languages. Similar is the issue in Thailand. So we started Thai language classes in Manipur University, and somehow it did not work, to the extent that looking at the Manipur University website, there was a letter from Indian Navy that we want to train 10 naval officers, giving duty leave with full support for 6 months. So if people are not there in the right place for the right job, if they are there without any mission, then sometimes maybe what we call the system, it doesn't work. So whether we get right salary or not, the kind of zeal to achieve the mission is also our primary concern. So this is what I realized, the practical issues, because India is not a country. India is a big subcontinent, because Northeast India. So here, we need to look at the local realities to implement, to understand the feasible, impossible, we need to address those issues also. So relating to this is incorporating culture, local language, seems to be highlighted. This is my just suggestion for the next conclave. Thank you.
Thank you for the question you did not ask. But I appreciate your comments, and I don't think any response is needed from the panel. So at this stage, all that is left is for me to invite you to express your appreciation to our eminent panel by a loud and warm applause. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's a group photograph. It's a group photograph. Thank you so much for chairing the illuminating panel 4, the final session of the 2 days deliberation. Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, IFS retired, Honorable Member Governing Council, Asian Confluence. And now, the esteemed chair and panelists posing for a group photograph.
A short wrap up now. So I'd really request you, because to stay back. I think it's been a long day, but it'll be worth it. We will only do it for 15 minutes in your presence. A short wrap up session. So kindly, stay back, and then we have some tea after that. We'll start in like 5 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats for the wrap-up, which will be done in a few minutes. In the meantime, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Asian Confluence team, Pradyut Das, Shreya Pan. As I call out the names, will you please come up on stage? Asian Confluence team, Pradyut Das, Shreya Pan, Lankeshwar Haisnam, Pinky and Pinky Thokchom. And thank you for your unstinted support, Mr. Ajit, stage arrangement, Vikash for hybrid, Jivan Lata Leishangthem for the traditional Lengyan, Mr. Surchandra Maitram of Hotel Classic Grand, and I request, ladies and gentlemen, to please give them a big round of applause. All the dedicated volunteers of Manipur from Manipur University, and last but not the least, Asian Confluence entrepreneurs. We acknowledge your commendable contribution towards the success of the colossal conclave. All the names that I have called out, please come up on the stage. We would like to show your face to all our distinguished dignitaries and esteemed delegates. Please come up on stage. The Asian Confluence team, Pradyut Das, Shreya Pan, Sharbari Chaudhary, Lankeshwar Haisnam, and Pinky Thokchom, and Mr. Ajit, stage arrangement, Vikash for hybrid, Jivanlata Leisangthem for designing and handcrafting the traditional Lengyan scarf, Mr. Surchandra Maitram of Hotel Classic Grand, all the dedicated volunteers from Manipur University, and Asian Confluence entrepreneurs. Once again, thank you so much for making the conclave a grand success. And may we, after the group photograph, may we now request Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, IFS retired Honorable Member, Governing Council, Asian Confluence, for the way forward, wrap-up and conclusions. Okay. Okay. In addition, may we also invite Ambassador Riva Ganguly Das, IFS retired Honorable Member, Governing Council, Asian Confluence.
So, dear friends, this is the final summation which we are trying to do on behalf of ESCON, the host organization, along with the Manipur University and with the support of the Ministry of External Affairs. And I'd like to begin by answering a question that was raised from that corner which we have not answered. The question was, who will be responsible for taking this dialogue forward and taking up the key takeaways and outcomes of this wonderful exercise which has lasted for full 2 days? So the answer to my mind is that first of all, it would be the responsibility of institutions which collaborated to put this event together. One of them happens to be Ministry of External Affairs, and its representatives are here. The other principal responsibility is with the major institution of this state itself, Manipur University. Vice Chancellor was present here at the inaugural session, so I'm sure he's fully committed. And in the third place, it is undoubtedly of us, ESCON, which is a think tank for the Northeast, but it is looking around for collaborators and partners in each of the 7 sisters and 1 brother, which form the family of the Northeast states. So our hope is, our earnest hope is that this very successful exercise, which has enthused our youth here, which has motivated the political leadership, which made it possible for such a brilliant presentation by the head of the Assam Rifles, and which has really excited the media as well, as you would have noted. I think it will, in that sense, be a collective responsibility of all those who have attended this dialogue and who felt that they really benefited, which is the reason why they devoted the whole weekend to this exercise. Now, in terms of summation of conclusions, usually we follow two different methods. One, right at the beginning of the conference, we set up a working group of certain representative individuals, and we request them to produce a document. This was not possible this time. Then the second method that we adopt is that we informally co-opt a few of the members, and our executive director, Sabyasachi Datta, masterminds the whole idea of presenting a kind of a summary. This is not a summary to which all of us may be fully in agreement. But nevertheless, this is a kind of a draft listing of some of the substances of discussions, and I would like to share this. It's a 1.5-page document, but I'll try to pick some of the major points, and then you are always welcome. If you felt that there was 1 or 2 points that really struck you, and you really feel that this should go into this draft document, then all that you have to do is to send a short email to Mr. Datta, and I'm sure he will incorporate in this document when this is finalized and shared with the authorities. So I'm very happy, first of all, that our attempt to create a little bit of fireworks yesterday succeeded fully. And two views emerged, whether we should think big or we should think practical. And a number of commentators subsequently commented on this. But I think Professor Lama and I fully would be in agreement with the famous formulation that every long journey must begin with a first step. Clearly, vision, that is thinking big, is important, and that can be achieved when we prepare a set of actionable points in a practical manner. So there is actually no difference or divergence, perhaps. It's a question of which end you are looking, and I think our basic view here would be that a composite, comprehensive, inclusive approach to achieve this goal will have to be followed by all the stakeholders. We also felt that there was a great deal of stress on the reimagined or reconsidered or reviewed strategy for the Northeast, and I think we picked up this idea from a speaker who said that the new strategy must be anchored around Northeast region's comparative advantage in promoting a multi-dimensional strategy that offers to use the full potential of agriculture, industry, and service sector of this region. I think there can be no disagreement on this. Agriculture is still the bedrock. Manufacturing is weak, but that also needs to be developed, and full priority has been given, needs to be given to the service sector, which has once again come out in this very session. There was a lot of stress on, while talking of agriculture, on biodiversity and its long-term medical and pharmaceutical implications, which also has been fully taken care of here. There was much debate about the title, Act East to Indo-Pacific, and with former Secretary of the Ministry of External Affairs sitting here, who not merely contributed, but actually implemented this policy for the last several years, I think we take note of the various criticisms which were made of the policy. I think we take them in very positive stress for the simple reason that neither she nor I am any longer in the government. But more importantly, I think even if we were in the government, we have to be receptive to the views and comments of our own fellow citizens. It is possible that there is a bigger need to explain India's policy towards the East. What is clear is that, as I explained, for the past 3 decades, this policy has been evolving from Look East to Act East to the current Indo-Pacific phase, which is not really a new policy. At best, it's a strategy, but it is part of the Act East policy. One panelist said, I would like to add act fast. Joy said that, I think. Fine, nobody can dispute that. There is a certain degree of urgency, and that is being reflected here. It also came out that we have great interest in our neighbors. Some people said, there is a contradiction between India first and the neighborhood first. This is just a manner of looking at things. India first is more in the domestic context, as far as I can see. But India has never said that we will follow only our interests and we will not worry about our neighborhood or extended neighborhood. That is never the intention. And so what we came out looking at the whole thing from the angle of the Northeast, that there are countries which are important to us. These are our immediate neighbors, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar. But I think this conference has placed a special stress on the relationship with Thailand, with Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and with Japan. So this is something that should be taken as an important takeaway from here. Yet another major theme which emerged is that security pillar in our policy is of immense importance. I think I would be frank in saying that our organizers, our supporters, our collaborators, and all of you were frankly very impressed by the session on security issues. I think it was not just because it was a very high-level participation, but also because evidence-based opinions were expressed, and the kind of reactions from the audience that were registered showed that while we have to push vigorously the development pillar, security pillar cannot be ignored. And therefore, I think what came out very clearly is that those who are pushing the development pillar will need to be much more sharply aware of the security challenges, and those who are focused on the security pillar will also have to recognize that security by itself is not enough, that development is the ultimate aim. At the end, we know security cannot be achieved without development, and development is meaningless without adequate security for our people. So let us think and reflect more deeply on the nexus and the deep linkage between these two pillars. We heard a great deal specifically on a number of sectors. For example, the aviation sector, there is a need for already better connectivity has been established, but specific requests were made. Once again, for example, for the restoration of the flight between Imphal and Mandalay. This is understandable because the road connections are not as good perhaps as they were in the past, given the very difficult security situation in our neighboring state. So this obviously would need consideration. A very sensitive issue that was brought in a manner which becomes acceptable in a conference room, to call, as Madame Rivadas said, the old-fashioned word is smuggling. Instead that we use the new word, informal trade. But this is a very serious phenomenon which must compel all of us, those who are in Manipur, those who are in the Northeast, and those of us who live in India. How long can the Indian polity afford such a massive quantum of informal trade? How do we expect the government to spend more and more money on health, education, and all kind of welfare measures if we are not willing to take a stand on curbing and eliminating informal trade? We heard a lot about SMEs and MSMEs. We heard some good practices followed by Thailand, by Japan, how the smaller companies of these countries have brought a big difference in our own neighborhood. In Bangladesh, for example, the JETRO rep spoke in detail about it. So it's important to learn from their experiences, but at the same time, we should also be in a position to answer a very genuine question, which again came from one of the ladies here, which has not been fully answered. So Manipur is a state where typically and traditionally people give first preference to try to get a job in the government sector. This is not just exclusive to Manipur, it applies to other states also. But now the new thing is that develop entrepreneurs, which is fine. But then the question was, will there be sufficient demand in the market, and will there be sufficient investment to back, because private people do not have enough capital to run their own enterprise. And the question very sharply was asked, are you confident that this is feasible, this is doable? If you are not confident, who's going to be responsible for it? So this is the question. Once again, we will have to reflect, we will have to come up with an answer, and we will have to say that yes, we will support private enterprise, but as the Chief Minister said, the facilities which are on offer, perhaps they will need to be expended and expended vastly. In terms of perception management, I think the way not just traditional media but social media looks at dialogues of this kind has also assumed a great deal of importance. I think today, as we know, now we take our first news actually from Twitter. It's not from, as our elders did from Times of India with the morning cup of tea. You are taking your news from Twitter, so we have to be ready to contribute to that perception management. And what that essentially means is that our positives have to be brought forth very clearly, and we have to be ready to address the negatives in an honest and credible manner. Without stretching your patience beyond a tolerable limit, let me make my final point, and this is about the threefold vision of ASCON, the Asian Confluence, your principal host for this dialogue. Our first aim is to develop and strengthen the common awareness or the awareness of common destiny of the Northeast. Sitting in Delhi, we always think that Northeast is a wonderful, united family where nothing goes wrong. But when ASCON is anchored right here in Shillong, we have a good idea that Northeast has to work harder to develop that sense of common destiny. We are contributing in a modest manner in that direction. Our second aim is to project the interests of Northeast to the rest of India. For far too long, Northeast was seen as a peripheral area. That idea has to be eliminated. We have spent now past 3 days in Manipur. Some of us have gone and explored the history of this place, experienced the greatness of Kangla Fort, gone and visited the Japanese Peace Museum and recalled the special history of the Second World War that was enacted in this place. And therefore we can say that we are now better equipped, those of us who have come from Delhi and other places, to project Northeast much more credibly to India. And finally, our mission in ASCON is to make sure that Northeast is seen as the principal bridgehead to our neighborhood, both in South Asia and Southeast Asia. So please rest assured, we shall continue to persevere in this, but it will help our task a great deal if our dream to have a sibling of ASCON in each of the northeastern states is fulfilled. And we have lot of hopes from you, the young people and their elders in this historic town of Imphal and in the great state of Manipur. And if, say, in the next few weeks, a new think tank could be established by the collective efforts of students, young people, their professors, it would be a great achievement for all of us. So with these words, let me conclude this and invite our Executive Director, Sabya Sachi Datta, to address you one last time. Thank you very much.
I think after 1.5 days, I just have the special honor to thank you all for being here, for participating in this conclave, to our esteemed Governing Council members. First of all, a special thank you to the Ministry of External Affairs, Dr. Sumit Seth, the Joint Secretary, PPNR Division, is here. I must say one thing, you know, working with his division in the Ministry of External Affairs has been a real pleasure and a breath of fresh air, because you know, things have been so smoothly organized, and no wonder that they are doing so much, not only here but all across the country. So thank you, Dr. Seth, for your help and your collaboration and patronage, and Anup Singh ji is here from MEA. The guidance of our esteemed Asian Confluence Governing Council, of course, Ambassador Bhatia, Ambassador Riva Ganguly Das, the esteemed scholars, you know, the presence of Dr. Mahindra Lama, you know, the collaboration with Manipur University has been, Professor Meite has just walked out of, because he had to face an interview on TV on this conclave, so he's just going interviewing there, but Professor from Dhanmanjari University, our former Vice Chancellor of Northeastern Hill University, Professor Srivastav, is also here with us. So thank you very much. To all the delegates and speakers, And I must also say that, tell you with a lot of pride and a lot of glee that, following the very successful interactions we've had with the entrepreneurs of the region over the last 2 years, the most recent being a delegation we had sent to Thailand, we have now established a young and an entrepreneurs network across. And many of the entrepreneurs here are here. They have been displaying, and I hope we will grow this because there was a lot of talk about SMEs, MSMEs, and I hope one day you are the real, bridges which can make it happen. So on that count, thank you for being here, and let's grow the Young Entrepreneurs Network. Similarly, Dr. Hyome, our senior fellow, honorary senior fellow, is here. We are working together to form a group of scholars working on international relations and other disciplines, together with international relations and political science and the sciences and the arts and the humanities, to put together a group of scholars who can voice articulately the concerns of the region, the achievements of the region, project the region. And I think, we look forward to working with Dr. Hyome more and more on that count. I met Dr. Palin. He was talking a lot about yoga and meditation. And I must say that I met him first when he visited us when His Holiness Sri Ravi Shankar visited Shillong. And you were at our center, I remember, to meet him. And that's how I met you. So, yoga, meditation, these are the threads which wins hearts, and I thank you for mentioning that today. And we also have many members of the Art of Living in Manipur who are actively engaged in meditation, as other groups I'm sure are there. And also I must thank my team at Asian Confluence, Shabri, Pradyut, Shreya. They have worked. I'm still standing here taking the credit, but actually they have done all the work, so coordinating with everybody. So I really want to thank them for their dedication and their support. So, and a thank you to everybody else, if I've missed out anybody, the media and the collaborations, and we really look forward to taking this to the next step. And our wonderful Master of Ceremonies, the beautiful Miss Esther here. Thank you very much. I hope you'll have we will take it forward, sir. That, once again, good evening, and looking forward to being in touch with all of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the curtain has now come down on the colloquial conclave, Act East to Indo-Pacific, role of Northeast Indian states in connecting the connectivities. Thank you so much for your valuable inputs and participation. In the Manipuri language, Ngamkai Leitana Thagachari